We're live. This is the First to Gold podcast coming at you live and in person, virtually, on a Thursday. It's Thursday, right?
Yes, it is October 9th.
My God, dude. Okay, so the days have been blending together for your boys over here. It's
Yep.
been tough. It's been tough. I mean, we've had a lot of work things that we've had to take care of, a lot of travel, just a lot, but we're happy to come back to you. I mean, we could not swing the last episode. We didn't make it happen. That sucks. But here we are, episode 7, and we're talking Notre Dame. Yes, we'll touch a little bit on NC State. I mean, that is one thing, the storyline, no doubt, because I think that NC State, and we mentioned this probably about like 2 weeks ago, Notre Dame's going to run nothing but pretty good offenses moving forward. But NC State, it's probably the best two offenses they're going to run into for the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that there's definitely a storyline in that. If I could go out on a limb, I really think that Notre Dame's season is going to be determined by these next 2 weeks and how they handle it and what this defense looks like. And I'll tell you that NC State, I've definitely watched some film. I've definitely listened to a handful of podcasts around NC State, and it's for whatever reason, it's been a matchup that's been circled, and I think that it starts with really CJ Bailey
Mm-hmm.
and just what he brings to the table. He's a big body. He can make every throw. He has receivers everywhere on the field. They're all lengthy, fast.
Bunch of long guys.
It reminds me. Now, here's the thing. It reminds me a little bit about A&M, but I might also go out on a limb and say they remind me a lot of Arkansas as well.
Mm-hmm.
And because I remember watching Omega Blake film and being like, "Oh my God,"
A little worried.
I was worried, but I had hope that there were some things that had changed on defense, which we're going to talk about today, because I'm never letting that storyline die. You'll understand what I'm saying. But I mean, CJ Bailey has nearly a 75% completion percentage. He's got a cannon. I absolutely love their tight end. And that would be Justin Jolie. This dude is a mismatch for our Irish, our defense. Because he's a mismatch for everybody. He's so lengthy. He's got 3 touchdowns. Dude has 9 yards per catch. I love the film. Yeah. Like I love what he shows. But then you also got Wesley Grimes that you have to take into consideration. You got Noah Rogers. You got Keenan Jackson. And the funny thing is, when you're looking through all this, and by the way, Terrell Anderson as well.
Yeah, he's their yards leader.
Well, but you look at all the yards and how evenly distributed they are.
Mm-hmm.
And therein lies kind of the concern, right? Therein lies what makes NC State so dangerous on offense. I mean, now, from a reception standpoint, Jolie is, and I want to say Jolly, but it's not. It's Jolie.
I know. I've been fighting it.
I know. It's like an impulse.
Jolie.
But no, he's leading the team in receptions, and there's a reason for that. Big body, just that outlet.
He's a chains mover. Third down, they hit him hard.
Absolutely. And in the red zone, they're like, this is a serious threat. Right. Yeah. And you're kind of in a situation where I think that they're going to go to him big time, considering the fact that Devonta Smith is out.
Mm-hmm.
So that tight end position is going to get some love, and they might really kind of circle in on that instead of the slot position. They'll put Justin Jolie on Dallas Golden, because you look at Dallas Golden and the only real film that you have on 14 is his performance against Purdue, which was largely good. Now, I have maintained, and I've said this, Dallas Golden's my favorite recruit since Jeremiah Love.
Yeah.
I just believe that Dallas Golden's a football player. He is going to be tested. And I don't know how often he's going to be isolated on that tight end position, but there are going to be times that NC State is going to go after that.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot to be said about that matchup and what that might bring to the table. I think, I really do think that could be the X factor in this game. It could be very frustrating. And if it's not Dallas Golden, it's going to be KVA. It's going to be, Drake Bowen. It's just a mismatch.
Yeah.
It's something that if I'm NC State's coaching staff, I'm looking to take advantage of it as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot there. There's a lot to be picked up. And, look, at the end of the day, I don't know Justin Jolie's measurables, but let me
He's
pull it up.
6'3".
6'3", you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and he looks lengthier than that.
Oh, for sure. I was a little surprised he was only 6'3".
Yeah, that kind of jumps out at me. And I don't know if they're sandbagging on the measurables there,
True.
but look, at the end of the day, I do think that they're going to find a way to isolate him against Dallas. Just
Yeah.
food for thought on that. I think that Leonard Moore, probably going to be up against Wesley Anderson or Terrell Anderson. Wesley, what the hell am I talking about? I was thinking about Wesley Grimes. I that's fine. Christian Gray is going to be up against whoever on when we're talking about where Christian Gray is going to be. I think it just makes sense to keep him at the boundary. Keep him at the boundary. That's his natural position. You do not want to put Christian Gray on the field. We have tried that under 2 separate defensive coordinators. It has not worked. Yeah. Let this kid do what he's best at. Put him at the field, put him at the boundary. Let him do his thing. So that is one thing. The other thing is Hollywood Smothers, kind of a beast. Now
love the name, dude. What a name!
It's Hall of Fame name, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a really, really good name. He got 7 yards per carry.
Yeah,
5 touchdowns.
Kid's quite a receiver too. He's tied for second receptions on the team with 21. He's already almost at 700 yards. He's a dual threat back there. So if they can't get the run going with Smothers, they're going to try and pitch him the ball too, because they've got a decent passing attack here. Bailey knows what he's doing back there. So if they don't pick up Smothers out of the backfield, they're going to dump it off to him, and he's going to make something happen.
Yeah, I think that the best comparison that I heard of Hollywood Smothers was actually I was watching Irish Sports Daily with JV Uwanyama, and he was like, Kyron Williams, little bit more juice. So if you're into fantasy football, Hollywood Smothers is a total take whenever he declares for the NFL draft.
I got Kyron this year.
I do too. Yeah. I do too. Yeah, good last week. Good.
Yeah.
Week before, not good.
Not so good.
But I ride with Kyron. And I think that, yeah. So needless to say, this, I think, is the biggest test that this defense has had since probably A&M, if I'm going to be completely honest. And I really do think it's closer to A&M than it is Arkansas.
Yeah,
because they
might look like Arkansas, but it's gonna play out more like A&M.
Yes. So I think, Connor, that kind of brings us into it's been 2 weeks, and we are at an inflection point in the season, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember this last year like it was yesterday, dude. We were in a situation with the offense that is much like the defense. Like at this time last year, where you started to see the offense start to put things together. It was the Stanford game. And it was like 2 back-to-back performances where you were like, that could be enough.
Yeah, is this the real deal? Are we getting it together finally?
It's just finding a way to play that complete game. And that Boise State game last weekend, It was close. It was really close. You're a couple plays on offense. You're a horribly officiated game away
Oh my
from
god, that
making
was
that.
terrible.
I
23 penalties.
I want to make a point because being at that game, I've been to 50 plus home games at Notre
Mhm.
Dame. It's the maddest I've ever been.
I can't blame you. It was infuriating watching it. And, it just hit a point where I was like, when are you just going to let them play ball? Like, I understand that it was a sloppy game for both sides, but at some point, it's like so many ticky tack calls. It's just like, let them play. Nobody could get into a rhythm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't get into a rhythm on offense when you're getting called for, ticky tacky holding. You
Mhm.
can't get into a rhythm as a defense when you have an interception. It gets called back for roughing the passer, which it wasn't.
Right.
But all this to say, before I go insane, all this to say, I mean, you're that away from it being 42-7.
Right.
And also, let's be real, like you get stuffed in the red zone on the
Drive one.
drive one.
Yeah.
And it's one of those situations where it's like, oh, throw out the Wildcat. Throw it out completely. No, I don't say throw out the Wildcat. I get why people think that.
Right.
There's just some adjustments that need to be made. That's
Yeah.
all.
I think
Whether that
I think that for the defense, this is a prove it game. And I think for the offense, it's a get right game, both before USC. Defense has to show that natural progression from the last few weeks. I mean, the Boise State game, other than all the penalties, was probably their most solid performance. I think they got lucky a lot against Arkansas, and then the team gave up halfway through the game. For they had their reasons, but I think there was a bit of an evolution even between that and Boise State. But I think this is their chance to take another step. Whereas the offense, didn't honestly, I was less impressed with the offense last week than I was the defense. Defense stepped up in a way I didn't fully expect. They got 4 turnovers. That in one game, more than the rest
well,
of the season combined, and would have had more if they hadn't called off like 3 extra interceptions.
and
You
I'll tell
know,
you what. Let's do this. Let's do this because I think this is important. We'll end on the defense because I think that just everything that's on the line every week,
Mhm.
it hinges on the defense, right?
Yes,
So
we can
I,
only go
I
as far as they take us.
exactly, and so I think this. We'll talk about offense real quick because there's a couple little things, right? Jadarian Price is playing out of his freaking mind right now.
Feed
Yeah,
them.
the fact that we're having a debate right now on who's better, Jadarian Price or Jeremiah Love, like it's a legitimate debate. I still think, Jeremiah Love is Jeremiah Love. He hasn't hit that home run yet.
No, no,
Just like
and he's performing well, but like you said, yeah, he hasn't gotten quite over the his own hump yet, which is remarkable. I mean, that's a testament to himself. But I think this is like this struggle between that we're talking between the two of them says a lot more about Price than it says about Love. Love's not even underperforming in general. Just he has another level he can get to. But Price has just had a solid season so far, and I'm
it's
I'm really really happy with it.
You know what it is? I really just think that Jadarian Price has just elevated his game, plain and
Yep.
simple.
Yep.
It has been so impressive to watch, and I think that the big thing for me, even watching last year with Jadarian Price, is just yards after contact. And
Oh
and
my
and,
gosh.
but he wasn't that great at that last year.
No.
This year, he has been so much better. That was the missing link for him outside of maybe being a threat out of the backfield to catch the ball, which whatever. Like that's fine. That's another element you could add to your game. I think
Mhm.
I think that that's maybe coming, but when you have Jeremiah Love, what's the point? Like I don't know if that's fully necessary to add
No.
into his arsenal. What Jadarian Price did and what Jawan Sider has done is basically say, let's double down on who you are as a running back. Let's
Mhm.
get you better at the things that we know you could get better at,
Yep.
and let's see what happens. And that has gotten better. His pass pro has gotten better. He's playing very, very well. The thing I would tweak, and this is a Jawan Sider thing.
Mhm.
it's kind of interesting because it's like after last year, at 2 years really, you criticized Dylan McCullough for the share, right? The timeshare at the position, and every player has their thing that they're great at, that they're starters in,
Mhm.
and I didn't love that always, but Jeremiah Love having 15 carries in the first half versus Jadarian Price having one. Look, we gotta be smart with Jeremiah Love now. All right,
Yeah.
like that. You gotta find a way to optimize his miles, and I get it. I understand fully why you want Jeremiah Love on the field, but you gotta figure out a way to preserve Love so that way through the middle of October and all the way through November, you're not running him into the ground because you
Yes.
need him for the playoffs this year if you make it.
And
You
last year
can't.
that was the issue. He was worn out by the time Indiana rolled around.
The
I mean, he
one
still
time,
showed out, but
the one time that they fed him, it was the USC game, and it's the best that I've seen a Notre Dame running back look ever.
it was crazy.
But he gets injured, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden you don't get one of your best players throughout the entirety of the playoffs. How
Right.
do we mitigate that? The good news is this: you got another running back that's playing at a really, really high level right now.
Mhm.
Just hold off on overusing Jeremiah Love.
Yeah.
Let's just spread it a little bit more equitable, and that'll be a good thing for this offense.
I,
It will be.
I find myself like oftentimes this season when they give the ball to Price, when they make that switch for the first or second time in the game, that I'm going like, please just keep feeding him. Like I can't think of many negative plays or for nothing plays that he's had. It's just like you want to give your gut wants to give the ball back to Jeremiah Love because he's the superstar. And it's like, how am I going to take it away from this guy? Like, just keep giving him the ball. He's done nothing to have it like be taken off the field.
No,
Give it right
no.
back to him, and that's a testament to Price. Like you said, they could have gone the route of making him a dual threat out of the backfield and catching balls and stuff, which I'm sure he can do if we really put him to it. But they doubled down on what he was good at, which is bursts and strength, and the yards after contact has been crazy. I mean, Arkansas, he was untouched so many times, and then against Boise State, like just running through guys. To the point where I like you said, making it more equitable. Then it gets to a point where you're like, oh, like shit, we have a superstar that's on the sideline right now, and for Love, I just have to say, I know all of us, like all us fans, were like hit a point where we're like, all right, dude, you can hurdle at people. You don't need to do it 6 times a game. And I will say he swapped the hurdles for the spins, man. These spins that he's thrown in have been working like a charm. I love it. I love to see it.
There's runs that Jeremiah Love pulls off that Jadarian Price can't. But the
Yes.
thing is with Jadarian Price is that when he gets to the edge, he's able to change that from a first down or maybe even just a 4 or 5 yard gain to a touchdown. And
Yeah.
and I think Jeremiah Love obviously could do the same thing. We've seen it happen countless times. But the thing with Jeremiah Love is I haven't seen as many perfectly blocked run fits with our offensive line with Jeremiah Love back there as I have with Jadarian Price. And honestly, it could come down to just maybe Jadarian Price has a better feel for getting to the edge.
Sure.
Maybe Jadarian Price his strong suit is that outside zone type look.
Hmm.
I think on his touchdown it was an inside zone or maybe even a duo.
Yeah.
The one I'm talking about with Boise
Yes.
State. That's the best run in his career. But
Right.
like I look at that and I just think it should be just a little bit more equitable. Like we can't run Jeremiah Love into the ground. You're gonna need him. You're
Hmm.
gonna need him. That is not something that you could play with. I think Jawan Sider knows that. I think
Yeah.
that if he could go back, he probably would have said like, okay, like I would have done that a little bit differently. But just food for thought.
Yeah, and I think to your point, I mean, if you make it a more equitable split between the two, then when or not when, if Love gets banged up a little bit, then you can turn to Price, who isn't cold, who you've been feeding the ball to all season, who's ready to go. I really don't like. Maybe it possibly has something to do with the fact that if Price isn't being given enough shots, that he gets a little cold. Whereas I feel like Love doesn't get cold. So if it's a matter of getting Price going and then filtering in Love as you need him, like I have a lot of faith that he can come in with 4 touches in the first half and then just go off in the second half. Whereas Price might need some more steady feeding. But I've been honestly, as much as I've been impressed with Carr throughout the season, save for like the Miami game with the running backs, I've been incredible. I've been relieved at their performance so far this year.
I mean, it just solidifies everything that you, me, and every Notre Dame fan and honestly pundit has ever said about this running back room. It's the best in the country. There
Hmm.
really is no debate at
Yeah,
all. And there were Penn State fans that and
for
probably
a minute, yeah. Even I
and,
was like, they're pretty good. If they're not number one, they're number two for sure. And
yeah,
then the
but
season unfolded.
it ain't even close. I
No,
have to
it's
tell you,
not.
it's not close. Not only that, this is the best running back duo since Darren McFadden and Felix Jones. I mean, I
Deep
mean,
cut.
truly, like
Yeah.
this is a group that is special, and we got to
Mhm.
take it in as much as we can.
Yeah, we have to enjoy this.
You gotta appreciate this because I love Javion Osborne coming
Mhm.
out. I love Jonas Walton, and I'm a Kedron fan like people wouldn't even believe.
Yeah.
And I'm not inclined to disrespect Aeneas Williams like that, nor am I inclined to disrespect Nolan James.
Right.
But let's be real.
This is
This
crazy.
is this is insane. This is generational. It really
Yeah.
generational. I define it as every 10 years, right? Well,
Yeah.
this is the best running back duo since '07. Well, whenever Darren McFadden and Felix Jones were together, which I think was '07 or
I think
'08.
so.
It might have been '08. But I just look, you obviously you got a really good thing going there. You've
Mhm.
got CJ Carr, who look, I, I had like upper deck seats because I got freaking hosed by StubHub. Absolutely hosed. But I'm almost happy because I got to see kind of like the plays develop in a way that I wouldn't have been able to see if I was where I
Yes.
wanted to be.
Yeah.
And even that missed deep throw, which I think is probably a level of his game right now that just he's got to dial in on.
Hmm.
Now, there's a caveat to that, and I want to hear what your thoughts are on this. But I watched that throw. I think he was throwing it to a spot that Will Pauling just wasn't there.
Yeah.
It was very obvious he was throwing into a spot just from my POV. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I could be giving him too much credit. He's missed a couple deep throws against Arkansas.
Hmm.
Uh, but also at the same time, I'm thinking about CJ Carr, and I'm like, maybe, just maybe, this is a dude that shines in the biggest moments, just like
Yeah.
Jeremiah Love does.
Yes.
Where I don't worry about Jeremiah Love if I'm Purdue. You
Sure.
know, although that he had a really good performance then. I just
They should have, but
I don't worry about him in those small games. Like it's like whatever.
yeah.
But in those moments where the lights shine brightest, that's when your best players make those plays. I just think that maybe CJ Carr is that guy. I just do.
Yeah, I think that's what we're seeing is a guy that knows he's capable of it. And I mean, that was a sandbox game he was playing. Think about it. Like Boise's foot wasn't on Notre Dame's neck. That the brights weren't the lights weren't as bright as they could be, just because of the circumstances. It was just a skill and talent difference. But he was trying to make those throws that required, like Miami. Like, I mean, that was an excellent performance, and Notre Dame was frankly outmatched. He made it happen. But I think he's trying to work out those kinks is because he knows he's got that in his bag and he's trying to make it happen. And it's like he's a gamer. Like he rises to the occasion of the situation. And the situation wasn't that crazy. So he's just out there wheeling and dealing. And also he's a kid. So it's like he's got to figure out for himself. Like God knows the only way I used to learn how to make any to learn anything is by screwing it up first. So, you
Hey,
know, and I'm glad he had a game like Boise to kind of toss it around and lead a guy on that palling throw too much and toss one up into double coverage to Fields. I mean, he hit a guy in was it the helmet or the shoulder? It was pretty freaking close on that
oh,
deep
Micah
ball.
Gilbert. Micah Gilbert. Yep.
Gilbert, that was it. Yeah, it was pretty close, and that's why these things like jump out to us is because nobody was going, "What was he thinking?" Everyone's going, oh my God, I can't believe you just threw that ball and almost made it." you know,
Oh, I mean that's the thing. It's like you got the future quarterback right there.
for
And
sure.
and I had a buddy text me just earlier, and he was talking about it. We haven't had one in 20 years, quite
Yeah,
like him. And I was
Clausen
like,
and Quinn are the last two that really come to mind.
he's better than them.
He's a more pure talent. I mean, think about Brady and his I don't know if he played a bit as a freshman, but his sophomore year was really like this year for CJ where he really got the reins. Um I just was happy to see him out there. I didn't know any better. Um
Right.
CJ Carr is leagues ahead of where Quinn was at
Well,
around this time.
it ain't even close because Boise State was disguising their blitzes, man, and we knew Boise State was bringing pressure. Well,
Yeah,
everybody knew, but they disguised it really well because Boise State is a very well coached team,
they were.
very well coached,
Honestly,
and
they played better than they should have because of that discipline in coaching.
I honestly think that Boise State executed their game plan perfectly, where it was
Yeah.
like, we're gonna make this game messy.
Hmm.
We're gonna and they
Sure
listen.
did.
Did they have some help from the rest? Yeah, I'm not gonna hold that against Boise State though. They did
No.
everything that they could with the talent that they have, and that's what Spencer
Yes.
Danielson. That's why he's gonna be a really really special coach wherever
Yeah.
he decides to go. Maybe it's still at Boise. Maybe it's there. I
Hmm.
just I know we haven't seen the last of that program, and
Yeah.
you just could tell that the talent isn't there. They did everything that they could to make that game exactly what they wanted it to be,
Yeah.
but you just had the talent with Notre Dame
Yeah.
to exceed that game plan. And honestly, I thought that the game plan was pretty well called by
Yeah.
Notre Dame. It wasn't Arkansas level because that was one of the better put together game plans that I've seen on offense, and it was definitely one of the better executed. Look,
Hmm.
it was one of those sleepy Saturdays in South Bend.
Right.
It was hot. It was hot as hell. It was hot.
Surprisingly hot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's one of the hottest games that's ever been played in October at Notre Dame. It's definitely one of the hottest games I've ever been to,
Yeah.
and it was just like one of them. But not at any point did you feel like this was going to be an NIU. You didn't even feel like it was going to be a Miami of Ohio last
Right.
year. Like
Yeah.
it didn't have that feel because you knew you had the horsepower on offense. And I take a lot of credit. I'm going to get another beer because I should.
Yeah. You deserve it, dude.
I just think Notre Dame's defense showed something that they haven't shown all season long. I'm going to
Mhm.
let you kind of take that for a second. It's only
Yeah.
going to take 15 seconds. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say they definitely took a step that was much needed. I really I've said it before, but I feel like a sandbox game almost, like sandbox mode in a video game or something, where you really get to kind of take the pressure off and really mess around and try something new. Because like you said, it didn't feel like that like an NIU game where like those all those BS calls would have been driving me up a wall, and I would have been super pissed, not just annoyed about it, because then you're watching a game slip away. There was never a moment where it was slipping away. Like even that first drive that they turned it over on downs in the red zone, and it was just like come on, guys. Like, you weren't like, there we go. There was our shot to get up early. Like, it was just more like, oh, come on. Like, I want to see 56 points again on the board. Like, that's where the frustration came in. But I think the defense really like set the tone. I mean, they gave Carr the breathing room to go try and force those big throws or really play around with what he had. And like you said, yeah, it felt like a sleepy game. And look how they performed. It was still a solid game. I would have liked more points and stuff, but the defense did their job. Got 4 turnovers. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that was more turnovers than they had the entire season combined going into
Yes.
this game.
Yes.
And
No.
there was like 2 more interceptions that were left on the board because they were called back for penalties.
I think Matt. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just random.
Matson Maddox or Maddox. Maddox Madsen.
Madsen.
He threw like 5 interceptions last year.
Yeah,
like all up. So
yes,
like this
I was
isn't
shocked.
And that therein lies what I'm saying. Like Boise State is a really well coached team. They're not going to make those mistakes. Their success is predicated on continuing to move the chains, not putting the ball at risk,
chipping away.
But there was nowhere for him to go because Leonard
there's no
Moore
chance to take that pressure off, dude. So he's the guy now, and he's got to force some throws. He's got to lay it out there, and it's like, yeah, that's just the way it's going to play out.
Well, you know what? I think that's the thing is I look at the Arkansas game and that's one thing like, okay, like the defense is settling in a little bit. Yeah. And, you could really say that in the second half of the Purdue game, right? Mm-hmm. Like, okay. Like, I mean, what? They've allowed 27 points in the last 10 quarters.
Yeah.
Right? And so,
Sounds
okay, that's something. That's
especially off the first 2 games. You're like, hey, I'll take it. I'll absolutely take that. Compared to the last 2 seasons before, you'd be like, wow, they're struggling. But this is a different game that we're playing now with this defensive unit, and he who shall not be named running the system. So I don't want to keep complaining about it all year. And I would say they earned some breathing room from us breathing down their necks last week against Boise State, to where this week I think they face a greater offensive challenge. I don't think there's any denying that. I just think North Carolina State has more offensive weapons, but at the same time, I know we want to end on the defense. As far as Notre Dame's offense goes, this is their get right game. Like, not that they have like big things to fix, but they just kind of have to figure out what exactly they want to do. Carr's got to rein in some of this, fourth quarter leading the final drive stuff, happening in the second quarter. It's like, you've got 2 all-star backs back there. Like, we've seen what happens when Carr – what was it, the Purdue game where Carr threw 12 balls? And it was just a nightmare for them. So, that's because you let your running backs dictate the game. They very much so did. And then when Carr threw the ball, it was just icing on the cake. So I want them to do a bit more of that, but take a step. Because they really need to get it together and make sure they're clicking on all cylinders heading into USC. Whereas the defense, I'm asking less of them, but it has to be a progression. Like most especially against North Carolina State, you cannot afford to take a step back going into USC.
Connor, it's absolutely a progression that we're talking about on the defensive side of the ball. And I look, all right. Let me just say this on the offense, because I know we're kind of ping ponging around, and I love that. Yeah. I don't care. I don't either. Especially with this Voodoo Ranger, I don't even think I could see straight. But I think that all this commentary around Jeremiah Love versus Jadarian Price, this is the type of game where Jeremiah Love goes off, and I'll tell you why. It's because this offensive line is playing right now at potentially a Joe. It's a Joe Moore level right now. Like
they looked good, man. They really looked good.
Oh, I mean, CJ Carr has all day. Anthony Knapp continues to get better. Ashton Craig just does what good football players do. Billy Schrauth played his ass off
They didn't
against
allow a
Boise
sack
State.
last game.
No, no, and that's a team that wants to create chaos. That's a
Yeah.
team that wants to disrupt your timing, and it never
Yes.
happened. And another thing is, I thought that the run lanes were there. I think that some, it was a little hit and miss, but look, against NC State's defense, they're okay, guys. They are completely depleted on defense.
Yes. That's their
Completely.
weakest point. I mean, Notre Dame has thrived off of I forget the stat, but explosive plays has been Notre Dame's thing this year.
And last year, in
Oh, yeah.
fairness,
Yes, you're right. But here I had a stat here. Yeah, so North Carolina State's defense is one of the worst in the country at specifically at explosive plays. They're 93rd against explosive passes and 89th against explosive runs. Guys,
man.
you have CJ Carr, Jeremiah Love, and Jadarian Price. I guarantee you each of them is going to have at least one or two explosive plays on their own. I mean, I see this is such an opportunity for this offense to get humming before we go into USC. And I'll just be upset about, even if we win this game, I will be upset if they don't look pretty. They gotta look like they're playing high schoolers coming out of this game. Not that that's who we're playing, but you need to make it look that way, guys, because
Mm.
the difference here is stark, and we need to see that.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I know you're being funny when you say high schoolers, and the funny thing is that they're at their fifth nickel, okay, their fifth nickel, and
Oh
then
man.
also that you've got your will linebacker at NC State. I forget his name, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful. He's
Hmm.
a true freshman. He's a true freshman. He hadn't played since they played Campbell for 24
Oh
snaps.
man.
I got to tell you, I really do think that you get back to your core tenets as an offense, they're going to run the ball like crazy.
Got
And
to.
I think Jeremiah Love is going to have one of those vintage Jeremiah Love performances where it's like 8 to 9 carries, 2 touchdowns.
Hmm.
He's going to hit that home run. He's thinking about it. He's hearing it.
Yeah.
He's hearing the debate. And
That's the
that's
only
the
thing he
thing.
hasn't done yet, though, is like you said earlier, is break that wide open.
I mean, he's done it through the air.
Sure.
It's so funny. Like he's so good that we're like, oh, he hasn't done it on
I
the
know,
ground
dude.
yet.
God, we're so blessed to be
He
this
hasn't
way.
he hasn't done it while doing a cartwheel in the middle of
Yeah.
the field. Like,
Dude, didn't he
no,
kick a guy in the chest against Boise State?
he did, because
Insane, dude.
the guy was ready for the hurdle, and like Jeremiah Love still like found a way to spin midair. It's
Yeah, dude. He's an anomaly. That is for sure.
there ain't no one that plays the game like Jeremiah Love, and there's no one that's going to play the game like Jeremiah Love.
Yes.
And if they do, it's because they're kind of like copying his style. Because like just like it's stand up comedy, right? Like
Hmm.
every stand up comedian has babies,
Yes.
as they call them.
Yep.
They all replicate their style. Like Jeremiah Love has like made a style of his own
Yeah.
to where other people are going to try and replicate that.
Is
The
he
only
is
problem,
is he a football Shane Gillis right now? I don't know. Hot
no,
take, dude.
you know what he might be. This is a deep cut.
Okay,
He's
let's
a
get
he he's a football Dave Attell.
David Tell. Wow, I gotta say I haven't heard that name in.
Because
I don't know.
every comedian that saw Dave Attell and his success, they would
Yeah,
start talking like this, like,
yeah.
oh, I like,
Makes me think
and
of
so
Mark Norman too. Yeah,
yeah, Mark Norman can't control it. But that's a medical condition. Um, Cam Scattaboo in the end zone, touchdown.
we
I
got
did
him
not.
this year too.
They called him short.
I actually
Oh,
I traded away Brees Hall because I had neighbors, and when he went, I had neighbors in Scattaboo, dude, and I was so happy. I was doing. I have Amon Ross St. Brown. I had neighbors, Scattaboo, at Kyron, and Brees Hall. I was doing
Jesus.
so well. And then neighbors went down. I had to go trade Brees Hall for Chris Olave. So I'm leaning on Scattaboo. It was between him or Brees Hall, and I was like, Scattaboo's just playing too well.
Well, they're saying he's short, but he definitely went. He got across. Oh, he
Cross goal
fumbled.
line.
Okay, never mind. Never mind. Whatever.
Oh,
Whatever.
no, I'll have
It
to
is what
check
it
my
is.
score later.
It is
Also,
what
I
it is.
found that their freshman linebacker Zane Williams, 5'11", freshman.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. And I'm just saying, like that's where Notre Dame. We expect this like absolute circus of an offense
Hmm.
on Saturday. To be honest with you, it's just going to be what Notre Dame does best. This is going to be a game in which Notre Dame, if they make that playoff push,
Hmm.
this is the offense you're going to see in the playoffs.
Yes. Yeah.
Trust me.
It's got to
Just
look like
trust
a
me.
finished product.
So that's going to be a thing. Now, on defense, and we had to give some shine to that offensive line because they're kicking ass right now.
Yes.
Joe Rudolph, this is your best product that you've put out there. I am I am not the most. I am one of his most vocal critics.
Yeah.
And
We
he
had a
has
lot to say about him earlier in the season.
he
2
has
games
done
in, we were not happy.
brother, he has done a phenomenal job in getting these guys right.
Yeah.
And you know what? On me. That's on me. I actually take the blame because I expected it to look like this in week 1, and it
You
looked
might have
far
fueled him.
from it.
You might have fueled him to this point, dude.
He might be listening.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, I am very impressed.
Yeah.
Like this right now, this offensive line is playing in that 2015, 2017 kind of sphere. They're
Yeah.
not there yet. They're
No.
not there yet.
But they
But
sure look like they're heading that direction.
you better believe it. So I listen, NC State's defense, they've got some nice edges and all that. I remember in 2017 because I was at that game, and I remember NC State's defense was scary. Oh man,
Yeah, they were
scary.
16 and we were 9, and then we beat them
Mm-hmm.
35-14. That was a solid game. But that was prior to the Miami game. So I was like, "Oh man, this team's going straight to the playoff."
I did too. No, I thought the same
Yeah.
thing, dude. I was there. I felt like, wow, like I was really worried about that matchup because they had such good edges. You got Bradley Chubb. You had
Mhm.
some other dude. Oh man, it's hard to think back to it. But that offensive line took over. And you figured if they were going to take over there, they were going to take over Miami. But it was a Brian Kelly coach team, and like
Classic.
stuff happens. Stuff
Yep.
happens. But
Yeah.
I look. All this to say, I'm pointing my eyes and my sights to the defense.
Yeah.
And I think I really it is such a peculiar spot to be in if you follow Notre Dame since 2017. Kind of funny we bring that up
Yeah.
because you just relied on this defense to deliver in these moments. And I'm not there yet. I'm in a very similar spot that I was in with Notre Dame's offense from 2017 on.
Yeah.
It's very interesting how that works. That's why I think this team could be so dangerous.
Yeah.
But this is going to be the game that determines that for me. And frankly, if we're going to be completely real about it, it's going to be these 2 weeks, right? This little stretch. I'm going to be able to tell if this is a title-worthy team over the next 2 weeks,
With 2 tough breaks to start the season, or
if I just
Yeah.
don't see it, or
This isn't
I'm not even going to have to make the interpretation they lose,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So on the defense, Connor, I got to tell you, the first thing that stands out to me is that the Boise State game is the first, and I called for it. I texted it. I don't know if I said it on this podcast, but I was like, the one thing they're missing right now is the confidence.
Mhm.
In what's they're not confident yet. Because
Yeah.
what breeds confidence, or excuse me, what comes after confidence? It's swagger. And when this defense starts playing with swagger, it's a different level.
Yeah.
They started playing with confidence against Boise State. You even see a quote earlier today. I think he told ISD this. We just got back to being ourselves. Now,
Yeah.
let me just be clear on something. The I did not know this, but after that Purdue game, right? We're a team that brings pressure.
Yeah.
We're a team that brings pressure. Actually,
Yes.
by the numbers, PFF has said we have north of 100 pressures that we have brought.
That's beautiful to hear.
And that's crazy because that's near the top.
That's a
And
polar opposite from the first 2.5 weeks.
you saw this in the Boise State game. They harassed him.
Yep.
They got after him. There was more confidence in the secondary, and also there's a youth movement that is happening with this
Yes.
defense right now. More Madden Ferry ammo, please. Hey,
Yep.
listen, I don't love that Devonta Smith is hurt right now. I would love him to be able to play in this game.
Yeah.
More Dallas Golden.
Yep.
More of Elijah Hughes, Cole Mullins. I want more of that.
Yeah. What we had last year by committee, because we had 11 guys injured at one point on defense. Some of our best, starters. It's by committee. You just got to step up, and that breeds confidence. You see a freshman or a sophomore get out there and absolutely show out. You're a junior or senior. You're like, come on. No excuses, man. I got to go out there now and make something happen. Whereas if you're failing around a group of experienced guys, this is the lot we have. This is what it looks like this year. I don't know what it is, but it just kind of not to be disrespectful, but you have like a kid who's too young and too inexperienced, too stupid to know better than that he doesn't have any business playing great, who goes and plays great.
But that's the thing about Dallas Golden. And again, I know I'm a Dallas Golden fanboy, but that dude never wavered in his commitment to Notre Dame after seeing Leonard Moore ball out.
Yes.
Where he felt like maybe my job is in jeopardy here.
Mm-hmm.
He never wavered in his commitment when Notre Dame was very transparent and forthright about we're going to go get a transfer at nickel.
Yeah.
He never wavered in that. And his time is coming. This is a golden, no pun intended. Literally, no pun. Legitimately, I wish I was that smart.
I know. That's why it's so funny.
This is a golden opportunity for him. This is such a great matchup. I am so circling him on this, and that's the thing, is that you have that. You got the linebacker position figuring itself out with Madden Ferriamo kind of making his way into the mix. Mm-hmm. Notre Dame was forced in a position where KVA and Drake Bowen had similar snaps because they were running two tight ends so much.
Yeah.
Boise State. So, and I just, for one, I'm sorry, it passes the eye test. Madden Ferriamo and KVA are a better combination than Drake Bowen and anyone else. Now, can Drake Bowen, is he prolific at bringing pressure up the middle? Absolutely. Sure. Absolutely. Is he a missile? For sure. But you got to use it properly. And that's the thing that we're seeing now, Connor, is this is a staff that has figured out things within their personnel that probably should have been figured out 2 weeks ago.
Yes. That was our criticism, is you're trying to just make your scheme you're bringing in here fit with who's at the top of your roster for each spot. And it's like, no, dude, you have to make your system work with who you've got and what you want to do with them. Like, yeah, let Drake Bowen come into the game to fly up the middle, and then have, KVA and Ferriamo, leading the pack in the bulk of snaps. Like, it's situational fits. And if you're just pushing the same guys out there every time, you're not going to get that out of them. Also, unlike you, I'm going to go get some water because I'm a healthy boy. So,
that's good. That's good. I got some fire for you. I'll stick with that. I've been impressed.
I'll be right back.
I've been impressed right now with Cole Mullins. High motor kid. Donovan Heinisch is playing better. Gabe Rubio is playing at a level that is phenomenal. He might be playing better than Howard Cross did at any point in the season last year. Truly. All you got to do is look at the film. You just got to look at the film and look at what he's doing. He delivered an absolute stuff, the likes of which I have not seen since Chris Orich. Now, here's the real X factor of this defense, okay? And it's a personnel standpoint, not from what they're doing schematically. Tay Johnson. Tay Johnson should have been the starting safety at the freaking end of fall camp. It should have happened.
He had a great game.
this is where I get irritated a little bit, but I'm not going to get irritated today because I'm in a good mood. I just, it is so obvious what is happening right now. I look back, I look back at our best defenses, which last year was probably the best defense that I have seen Notre Dame play, period, end of story.
Yeah.
Season after season, or excuse me, game after game. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that Xavier Watts was back there. He was a rangy player that was able to cover ground in ways that a lot of safeties can't do.
Net,
you also really, and then you also freed up a Don Schuler to be good at what he's good at. This was the fundamental mistake. If I could just circle in on one personnel decision that I would have changed, I would have not put Jalen Stroman at that safety position opposite of Don Schuler, because what you did, and I know this was Chris Ash. Chris Ash was freaking fighting for his life in that job.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm looking for job security, and Jalen Stroman's got more experience than Tay Johnson. Tay-Tay's not ready. I'm going to put Jalen Stroman back there, and I'm going to let a Don fit into that role that Xavier played. Huge mistake. Yeah. By the way, do you watch film? Absolutely ridiculous. Unbelievable. And I'm sorry. I'm getting riled up. Because it's you're fitting a square peg in a round hole. You cannot, Don Schuler is not at his best when he's forced to play that Xavier Watts role. God damn. We said the same thing in the offseason. It was, you can't let that happen. Anybody that thought that a Don Schuler was going to fit into that Xavier Watts role is foolish, because you can't ask a Don Schuler to be Xavier Watts. You got to ask him
last year.
You got to ask him to be a Don Schuler. Yes. You got to ask him to be who he is as a football player. Know thyself. Always. And that was right there, the first red flag. And the other red flag was when Devonta Smith went down, you put in Carson Hobbs, because you put Carson Hobbs in because he had a little bit of experience. He had a little bit more than Dallas Golden. But the reality is that you recruit these players for a freaking reason, right? Use them accordingly.
Yeah.
Finally. I don't know who made this decision. I don't know the dynamics of that coaching room. I don't know the dynamics of the defensive staff. I have no idea. I am not in that building. I would love to know. But it all falls on Marcus Freeman, in my opinion. Sure. You know what you have. You know what you have.
He knew better. Absolutely.
Dude, and you recruited this kid, Mike Mickens, you recruited him, and they let Chris Ash run with it and make those personnel decisions that, quite frankly, held this defense back to the point where they were paralyzed.
Yes.
Paralyzed.
Yep.
And
no one was comfortable in their spot. It was kind of what was happening on the offensive line. It's like you're throwing talent out there in spots they're not supposed to be in.
That's right. That's right. And you know what? A lot of this that we're talking about with this defense and this evolution has been personnel driven. Now, look, Jason Onye, I haven't mentioned him yet. He's always going to get put in because the coaching staff believes in his ceiling. And I'm waiting to see it.
Yeah.
To be completely honest with you.
Against Boise. That was his day. I mean, I'm just looking at the numbers from everybody that you've mentioned. KVA, 8 tackles, half sack, half tackle for a loss. Schuler, 7 tackles. Leonard Moore, 2 interceptions, 6 tackles. Tay Johnson, 5 tackles. And an interception. I mean, they're coming out and playing exactly the way they're supposed to. And I see what you mean, too, is like, giving up 7 points is an excellent day, but like more so than anything that the stat sheet can purely tell you is it was a fit game. They had everybody where they were supposed to be, you know?
Yeah, that's right. That you're 100% right on that. Look, I mean, we could talk X's and O's all day. I'm not a Jimmy's and Joe's over X's and O's type guy, because the same, and by the way, like, this isn't even just my take. This is Brian Driscoll at Irish Breakdown. It's such a good point. If it's Jimmy's and Joe's over X's and O's, why didn't LSU in 2018 go completely off when they had Joe Burrow and the same receivers
Yeah.
at that position.
Right.
Obviously, scheme matters, right?
Yes.
I get that, and we saw that in the Boise State game because they got after, they got after Madsen,
Yes.
and I'll tell you this much: I've had about enough of any type of argument and just letting your linebackers sit back, letting your dogs just kind of be stuck in a cage. We can't have that anymore. That can't
I
happen.
hate these 8 to 12-yard passes over the middle just sitting, because everybody has a 10-yard cushion.
But the great thing is that you have faith now in that safety position because I think Tate Johnson's going to be so special. I
Yeah.
really do.
I mean, he looks great.
Dude, it was obvious watching the all 22 film from the Arkansas game and the Purdue game. It's like, yeah, that dude is going to get his. It's going to happen. And it happened against Boise State. And it could have happened more than just that. But I got to tell you, I love that. I love the ranginess of Madden Fair Ammo. Use that. Utilize it. Create havoc. Create chaos. Bring that pressure. Don't be afraid. All this to say, it happened last weekend. It happened. And you allowed your elite defensive backs. I still think Christian Gray's elite. I think Christian Gray's legacy is always going to be marred by this kind of like, well, maybe, but honestly, put him in the position that he's supposed to play. He's really, really good. Yeah. Trust me, he's really, really good. Leonard Moore is Leonard Moore. And that dude is Benjamin Morrison, but with more tools.
I was about to say he's BMO now, and Tay Johnson's Leonard Moore. This was from last year, It's like they've stepped up and we saw Moore step up when Morrison went out. Thankfully, we've got the two of them on the field at the same time. Like I can't wait to see what this looks like. Ideally, heading into the postseason.
And the great news is that you got Mark Zachary waiting in the wings, and he has experience now. Here's my argument. I'm never going to let this storyline die. Listen, other outlets might let this storyline die because they were told to quiet down. Not me. Not me. Not you, Connor.
Quiet down, you?
We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that because you know what? I got a day job. You could take away my credentials. You could do whatever you need to do. You could do whatever you need to do because I'm going to tell the truth always, especially after 2.5 beers. This isn't Chris Ash's defense anymore.
No.
Okay? This isn't. And the fact that we're even having the debate on, is this Chris Ash's defense? It's not. It's obvious it's not. Yeah. Why would Christian Gray come out publicly and say, we just remembered to be ourselves? Because there were captains that went into Marcus Freeman's. I will put it on my grave. Yeah. I swear to God. There were captains that went in there and said, "This isn't us. This isn't us. This isn't what makes us good." Like we're aggressive. We're freaking gritty. Like we have rangy safeties that are at the ready. Let us play, please. Why are we putting Jalen Stroman back there in a position that he doesn't belong in? That's not fair. You're putting him in a position that freaking Adon Schuler was in last year. Mm-hmm. And that is not fair to him at all. That he has 0 interceptions in his flipping career.
Yeah.
And you're going to put him back there and have him freaking try to beat Xavier Watts. That is absolutely insulting. Mm-hmm. I will not hear this. This is Chris Ash's defense. Yeah. All right. Well, tell me where Chris Ash is next year.
Yeah.
Tell me where he is.
I don't think it's going to be South Bend.
I guarantee you it's not. I guarantee you it's not. And that shit changed the minute that the second half started against Purdue because his privileges were revoked. The only thing that he's doing as a defensive coordinator is maybe helping a little bit with the safety. He might have some input in those coaches' meetings, but he is being told what to call. He is being told what pressure to bring. And that's the reality of it.
Got reins on him that we don't explicitly see. And it shows. Proof's in the pudding, man. I mean, we've seen it's too stark a difference. if he mailed it in for a whole season and they brought him back and we saw this, next year, then I'd be like, all right, there's an argument to be made that he spent the offseason overhauling what his approach was. Yeah, like you said, it happened in the middle of a game. You can't look at a head coach like Marcus Freeman who knows his guys with that much carryover from last year's elite defense and who is a defensive coordinator at that school already that is going to just let this shit slide. It's just not going to happen.
Well, and I don't mean to put the tinfoil hat on. I don't even think that's tinfoil hat. I don't think this is his defense. I don't. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it is. Right. I am not going to do that. It is very obvious what's going on right now. And I got to be honest with you. I think in the beginning of Al Golden's, time at Notre Dame, it was very hit or miss. Sure. It was a good, solid defense in his first year. It slowly ascended to what it is. I wonder how much influence Marcus Freeman had over that because he's got the lowest blitz rate in the NFL. Right now, Al Golden does.
Yeah.
So what does that say to you? And all that to say, this is on Marcus Freeman. You are the CEO of the program. Yes. You got to make better hires moving forward.
Buck stops with you, dude.
Your shitty hire has allowed this team to be on the ropes every freaking week. Now you had to step in. You had to. You had to.
To his credit, he has, but it
absolutely
took losing your two toughest games, getting embarrassed. I mean, and that's the thing. Like it. Unfortunately, and we've seen it, his strength is responding after getting kicked in the teeth. It's not preventing himself from getting kicked in the teeth.
Right.
So,
right.
And I wouldn't be surprised if this success is bred strictly out of that. He learned it the hard way and he pivoted like we know him to do. So I completely agree with you.
Well, and I make mistakes all the time in my job. No. I screw up all the time, and I understand what he was going for. Like, sure. I'm going to get someone that's experienced. I did the same thing with Al Golden. We'll be fine. I just don't think that his involvement was what it needed to be for Marcus Freeman to be getting paid the amount of money that he is at Notre Dame. You got to know because you recruited these players for a freaking reason, and you put Jalen Stroman out there. You put Carson Hobbs, who looked like a newborn deer.
Lost.
Trying to freaking cover guys against Miami and against A&M. Unacceptable. That should never happen again. But since we're here, I am thrilled that we're even having the debate on whose defense it really is.
Instead of crying over fully knowing whose defense it is.
Exactly. Like you really think that there were just a couple adjustments here, a couple adjustments there by Chris Ash?
To this point. No.
No. Now, I'll say this. This weekend's going to determine everything.
Yeah.
For me. It's going to determine exactly what I need to know about this defense and who's really holding the reins. This is a major moment for this defense. Hey, offense is going to take care of it. NC State's defense sucks. And there's a reason that Vegas set the spread as to what it is.
Yep.
So, with that in mind, man, I'm thrilled that we started to see what we saw. I just don't want to let an opportunity pass us by to call out the absolute truth, or at least what I think is the truth. This ain't Chris Ash's.
Right.
Okay? This is either a collective, which I think it might be.
Yeah, but
I think Marcus Freeman is calling this shit.
Yes.
I am sorry. I am not going to sit here and be insulted by NBC. Oh, Chris Ash has really made some. No, absolutely not. And while we're at it, NBC, your product sucks. It's absolutely horseshit.
Peacock. I'm tired of it. I'm tired.
Well, I hate it.
Everywhere I go to listen about the lead up to this, and it's been like this ever since Peacock came out. Every time this game comes up, every commentator on both sides is just like, what is this? Why are we doing
horrible.
This?
Horrible.
Yeah, I hate it. Well, not to push us along, but spreads at 22-5. Notre Dame over/unders 58.5.
Yeah, I think I have my score prediction for you.
Okay. All right, you go first.
It's going to be 49-24.
Okay, okay. I honestly like I can't remember what game it was where you threw yours out, then I threw mine out, and then you were like, "Yeah, actually, I'm gonna adjust it a little bit now."
Arkansas.
Yeah, it was Arkansas. I had 45-17, but I could see I could see 24, no doubt. I think we're on the same piece with the offense. I don't think they're going to struggle very much. But yeah, now that I'm reading it, I don't know. 17 to me feels short. I could see anywhere from 20, 21, 23, 24. You know, um, I could see them kicking a bunch of field goals because it's enough to get down there, but then they put the clamps on. But that's that score prediction 45-17 reads a lot with a lot more confidence in this defense than I have prescribed through this. So I'm going to go 45-20. So what is that?
25.
65. Yeah, so I'm going over and beat the spread.
I think that's fair. I
Yeah.
think that's fair. I really do. I could easily go 49-17 on this.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be that garbage time touchdown or that
We
touchdown
see
that
it a
we
lot. They pull back quite a bit. And I remember under Al Golden, my dad and I were getting so upset that USC game last year,
yeah.
where at the end we were just like, what do they do? They're just letting them go the length of the field. Like, we didn't think we were going to lose, but we were like, this looks terrible. I don't want this. And my dad, like, I think after the game was listening to something or read something somewhere, and he was just like, yeah, actually Golden came out and said, why would I give anybody more looks at my best stuff at the end of a game I know we've won? And I was like, I don't like that, but it makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah. No, it's 100% true.
Yeah.
It really is. So I just think, look, I do think Notre Dame mostly dominates this.
Hmm.
Like it might get a little weird for a little bit, but
Sure.
like I do have more faith in the direction of the defense. I know that Notre Dame's offense is going to perform. If they don't, we're going to be having a very tough conversation. Um,
Yeah, that's for sure.
following the game, but I think that that's fair. 45-20 on your end.
Yeah, I'll go
49
45-20.
49-24. It's the same spread. It's
Yeah.
25 points. I really do think that that's accurate. Guys, if you're listening to us, please like, subscribe, comment, get in on the action. I'm
Yes.
dying over here.
Right. Again, we've got so many answers. We just need questions.
That's right.
So.
That's right. Just give it to us.
Also, I just want to say shout out to the Irish Tribune. Got some threads in here. I've got a couple other shirts that we're gonna put on, but yeah, product of the Irish Tribune, First and Gold. Please subscribe, like, share, blow us up. We'll remember your names when we get famous. So
As always, First and Gold Podcast is here for you. We're here for ourselves, and it's a go Irish. We'll see you around.
go Irish.